Oh. Hmm.
Okay. Is it cool where you are?
Cold. No, I've got the heating on,
Okay.
but otherwise it looks very cold outside.
It's more than cool outside, you know. It's more than cool outside. Uh, good, good, good.
I know I might sound bad, but I'm feeling a lot better. Just
Yeah, you are.
mm.
You are definitely. Right. Who can remind us what we taught the last time?
Last time.
Yeah,
Okay.
We talked about data governance scope.
at the school. Okay.
I think we were talking about what was the word? What systems were put in place to like for the checks and balances. That's what I remember.
Yeah. What else again?
Uh, what was the name of it? Hold on. I've got it written down somewhere. Hold on.
So we talked about quality assurance. Talked about data protection.
That's it.
Talked about ownership identification. Talked about software selection. We talked about data understanding, and then we talked about
Yeah.
I think we talked about usage tracking, that's being able to track the source of the data and how data being able to monitor data. Yeah. We talked about workflow automation, being able to automate the system and use it to manage data workflow.
Yeah.
Then we talked about handling diverse data sources. So that's being able to set up your system to be able to like handle diverse data sources. That has to do with emails, messaging, and videos and all that. Then we talked about metadata management.
That's correct. That's good. Good to know that that you keep stock of what has been taught. Okay. Swag. All right. So I'm gonna go through some few interview questions and I'll provide some quick answer based on the scope that we talked about last week. Is that okay, everyone?
Yeah.
So please
Yes.
take note of these questions that might be um, very, very useful. First of all, if I ask the question that what is data governance? What is data governance? I'm gonna put the I'm gonna put the question in the chat box. Would that be okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What do you mean by the concept of data governance?
Okay.
I have my own definition, which of course comprises of so many things. But you say, well, okay, what can you generally, kind of refer data governance to be? So
Yep.
you are free to phone a friend. Was it?
I've not seen it. Don't know.
You've not seen it? I put it in the chat box.
Okay, I've seen it.
Did that? I'm not sure.
Everything you do to ensure data is safe, secure, available, accurate, and usable. Yeah.
I think you can elaborate more on that point, but
Yeah. So they ask you because we're dealing with the scope of data governance. So this is more or less interview questions and practical in a way that when you get hold of it, you'll be able to talk about it. Well, what can you tell me in the term? What can you say? What can you talk about? What do you think the concept of data governance imply? So, have anyone else out there? Any other person? So, I want us to get this very clear. Because if you want to speak to somebody, what is data governance? They ask you, did it cost? This is what I'm doing. Oh, do you want to have it? What do you think? What do you really understand by data governance anyway? So these are all the things that you must put that in your mind. I have an answer to it.
So let me
You can see the answer I put there, or you
do
can
do I have
put
to answer in the chat box?
yeah, put the answer in the chat
Okay.
box.
okay.
Okay, let me just check your own.
No, you can still bring your own. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's a much better answer. The government response to the overall management. Let me write that down.
Yeah.
I think we just go with your own. It summarizes it all and makes
Okay.
it easier.
Because in this kind of
But
question,
the
you don't
concept is what matters most. Yeah.
in this kind of question, you don't speak much. You have to be very taciturn about bring the concept out properly. Okay. Okay. Why is data governance important for organization? Why is it important? Because anytime you come here, I'm going to ask you this question. Why are you studying this course? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Because not until you know why, the relevant of it will not be, be emphasized by you. Wow.
Okay. Used to dictate like the management, utilization, and protection. So protection, right, and the accountability of data assets. So it's the whole idea is being able to manage the data asset of the company, provide accountability, and the tools you use to manage this data.
Mm.
I don't know if that suffices.
Okay. Yeah, you help someone if they put an answer there, it helps organization to make better informed decision, thereby reducing waste and increasing profit. That's very, very good. That's very good. So you see all these things, someone going to confront you. Study data governance. What is about data governance? Why must I have to do it? What is it about? You talk about what is data governance. Why must I have to do it? Or why is it this? What is irrelevant? That's the question there. Okay, why is it so important? This actually helps organization to make better informed decision. Take opportunity to get those questions. It helps in risk mitigation. Okay. All right. Okay. I have put an answer there. Also, it ensures compliance with regulations, enhance data quality, reduce risk, support informed decision making. It's a part of what if said that time as well. Okay. So you see the relevance why this question is necessary. Okay. Now please don't make mistake about this question that is coming. All right. What are the key principles of data governance? The key principles. The key principles. What are the key principles of data governance? What are the key principles of data governance? You want to phone a friend?
I mean, integrity, I suppose.
Integrity, yeah. Very, very important. Integrity, yeah. You see how powerful you guys are, though. Because
I appreciate that because I feel out of my depth. So I appreciate that. I'm trying. I'm learning a lot. I'm doing a lot of studies on my own.
Barrister said data is actually data accurate, complete, consistent, relevant, and timely. This can be achieved by establishing and enforcing data governance standards. Okay. Talking about the key principles. Yeah. Always get this thing. What is data governance? Why do I have it? What are the key principles? These are the things you're always going to put in your heart and make sure that you articulate them wherever you're speaking. Okay? I have an answer there too, so it's not limited to what I gave. Accountability, transparency, and integrity, like I said. Nicholas has said, Barrister, your hand is up. It's a pleasure.
Good morning. Yeah, when we're talking about the principles, this could include the data quality, accountability, transparency, integrity, data security, which is we all know is very important, the rules and regulations, also in terms of the change management, collaboration. These are all key principles, when it comes to data governance. So accountability is key, as we all know, like a standardized rules and regulation. Then data stewardship, data quality standards, and transparency.
It's very important. Transparency is very important as well. Thank you so much. Please always remember this. Okay, these are all general questions about data governance. And okay, take advantage of them. Thank you, Barrister. Can you explain the scope of data governance in an enterprise? Can you explain the scope of data governance in an enterprise? An explanation? Okay. All right. Let me give you a quick answer to that. So who can tell me the answer that is there now?
Yeah, this is.
Can you see the answer out there for the scope?
I can, yes.
What can you see there?
It includes data ownership, data policies, data quality management, data security, metadata management, and compliance.
Those are key ones. Okay, we
That's
know
it.
that. Okay,
Okay.
very important. Okay, so what what rules are critical in a data governance framework? What rules? Very, very critical. Look at the word critical there. That's what we're talking about. It can be so many rules, but what are the key? What rules are critical? Critical. That's what we're talking about now, and they are not is. So, what role do you think? What rules are critical in data governance framework? Talking about rules and responsibility, very important.
Let me look at this.
Somebody mentioned it the other time, on one of the answers somebody gave to us, somebody mentioned one of them. And what rules are critical? Some of them have been mentioned. I'm only giving you 50-50. Or you can go back to answers given. Some of the rules are there. Okay.
Ownership, quality management,
So
policy making, security, monitoring,
talking about rules.
our rules.
So the answer is there. Can somebody tell me the answer that is there? Latonia?
Yes, ma'am.
Go to
Good day, sir.
good morning and afternoon. Can you go to the chat box and tell me the answer that is there?
I just joined now. Let me see what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
I don't have a phone. I'm using my husband's phone. He's not at home. He just sent me the details. I'm using my computer now. Data owners, data stewards. So what roles are critical in a data governance framework? The answer we have here is data owners, data stewards, data custodians, governance committees, and IT teams.
Those are very important, but it's not limited to that. We have so many committees in data governance, different kind of committees and how they are designed, structured. So in the organogram. So, Barrister, your hand is it legacy hand or?
I know. I just wanted to add that in terms of the roles, and we'll have amongst we say I think it says data stewards and governance team, compliance officers, data management. Other important aspects of data governance include data security and policies. Then we also have data architecture, compliance and auditing processes involving stakeholders, data integrity, data modeling. So it's a very wide, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Those things are, most of them falling into data stewards. So you can be stewards of data integrity, stewards of data analysis, stewards on all the ones you have actually mentioned. So they come in data stewards. So the key rules out there and all that you have mentioned comes on that seriously. And amazingly, all the ones you mentioned, they can also employ people based on that. So it's very important. And okay, thank you so much for that. So I'm going to ask a few strategic questions. But Manu, are you still there?
Yes, I'm trying to write everything you're saying.
No, not you can copy them at the end of this if you want to copy the main questions there. So I'm going to be asking some few strategic questions. What is the meaning of strategy?
Long-term plan.
That's very good. Very smart, very, very smart man.
Thank you.
When I grow up, I'll be like you.
Yes, sir. MLOC. MLOC.
So very important. If you want to have some strategic program, long-term plan, you need.
You dey chop your money now. Sorry, my lord.
So very important.
Sorry about that. A call just came in. Sorry.
So it's very important that we get to know the kind of strategies. What are, if you are employed as a data governance manager, and what are the objectives of data governance strategies?
Is that to check what kind of securities and audits are in place and then see if they can be improved in some way? I don't know.
Can somebody tell me the difference between aims and objectives?
So aims are where you want to arrive to, what you intend to achieve, where you want to get to in terms of data governance. Objectives, tools, or the system, or what you will use to arrive at that point.
That's correct. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Engineer Bob Manuel. Many people do not know the difference between aims and objectives. So aims is a target, more or less the goal. Objectives are all the things, all the activities you carry out to reach that goal. Objectives. Please always keep in mind, because your position or positioning is as a manager, or you're going to be a manager. So you should be able to know some concepts and by their definition as well. So very important. So on this basis, strategic question is that what are the objectives of a data governance strategy? So let me quickly just give, because of time constraint. What can you see there? Latonia?
It says to ensure data quality, mitigate risk, drive efficiency, and ensure compliance.
Okay. These are the main objective to reach the target of data quality or integrity of data. Very important. So data quality, that's the objective. You need to carry out that initiative. Then mitigate against risk, which of course, if we may mention at that time, you drive efficiency, of course, the essence of it is to have value created. And then if you have value that you have created, you have to make sure they are in compliance with the norms that is expected. So how to have that, you should be having security and privacy of your data wherever you are. Okay, please always remember this that strategic question. I'm going to have another strategic question I'm going to give. So, right, how do you align data governance with business objectives? Very, very important. Very, very important.
Let me just understand you well when you say how do you align.
Yes, don't forget the word there is
So,
business objectives. How do you align your data?
So I would say the essence of your data governance is being able to use the data that the company has to to achieve the goal or the objectives of the by using your objectives. So, but how do you align this? Being able to do your analysis, then being able to, first and foremost, whatever data you have, been able to like cleanse data, run the cleanse data, and look into data and see how you can get insights and from data you have available, and then use from your analysis, use what you've been able to derive from your insights and see how that can solve the problem of the company, and then being able to put this in a visualized form to present to the executives and guiding them towards achieving the company's objective.
Thank you so much. I love that. Any other person? Very important. I want someone to speak about that as well. Also, thank you, Engineer Emmanuel. Yeah. Engineer Louis.
Hello, Pastor. Hi, everyone. My own addition to what the other guy said is to your objectives of the data governance itself is not only to improve solve problems, but also shed more light and make data more more transparent and more how will I put it, able to be easily interpreted. And that way, giving other data governance custodians to use this as well to improve and predict foreseeable things like growth and how and all together to improve or to visualize the view of the stakeholders as well. Hello?
Okay, that is a very good answer as well. So this answer is very relative, and also it can help from experience. Barrister, your hand is on.
In terms of aligning data governance with business objectives, it's very important that we identify the business goals and also to encourage stakeholders, improve stakeholders' collaboration and implementation of data stewardship, and also define the performance indicators, which is the
KPI.
And assess current data landscape. I think these things are very important when we're talking about the business objectives. Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, you guys have provided great answers, to be quite honest. We must not, undermine those answers given. Okay? So yeah, data governance program is always in the business sector side. It's not like IT. Okay, so if we take data governance program, Louis, your hand is up. Is it legacy hand or a new one? Okay, I take that as a old hand. Okay, so we must always put to cognizance that we have to identify data principles that support the organizational goals. So you have the organizational goal. So we want to align the data governance program to it. You need to identify the priorities, that support the goals itself, such as enhancing customer insights and meeting regulatory standards, but not limited to that. Okay, very important that we must identify priorities so that we can support the enterprise goal as well. So, thank you so much for that. Okay, see, these are our strategy, and so what metrics you can use what are metrics you can use strategically to during that process? What metrics you can use in measuring your data governance strategically?
Hello, Pastor, can I talk?
Yeah. Because your hand is up.
Metrics we can use is by initiating targets for growth. Also putting indicators, which can be figures, and that way you can prioritize those figures from what to what you can use to aid those figures as well, and that way you can measure growth, or wherever department is having some deficiencies, and then you can mitigate them as well to meet up to that target.
That's a very good comprehensive answer you have given, because you have done a lot of that, and one of the assignment, I know you did a lot of that as well. That's why you could looking at setting the target criteria and the metrics. So you can now measure each of the components, whether they meet up or they do not, by looking at the state and the current situation of each of the components in line with your program and the goals and objectives of the business itself. So overall, across all functional departments as well. So that being said, you can have you can also look at the data scores, which of course the current situation, compliance, rates, how have we been complying with what has been, and reduction in data incidents. If there has been reduction, that means that is the after effect of probably your initiative or your program becoming successful, and do we have satisfaction from customers, insights, and better decision making in terms of strategic direction. So that means yes, if you say yes, your initiative is working fine strategically, especially when you are trying to let people know that the initiative you have carried out before and the result of it, using the STAR, STAR, what is it? You have done, what have you identified the root cause and also the result of it? It's very important. Okay. All right. So, what is the difference between data governance and data management? I want people, you see, this question is actually coming in interview a lot. Most people don't really get it. So the difference between data governance and data management. What is the difference between data governance and data management? So Latonia, can you see from there? Can you tell me the answer you can see there?
Okay. What we have here, it said data governance focuses on policies and rules, while data management involves the execution of those rules. Okay.
You see that? If
Yeah.
I ask that question 100 times, can somebody produce the answer for me?
Yes.
Don't make a mistake. These questions I'm asking that are very strategic, you get to have them in your heart, because a lot of people don't know the difference between data governance and data management. Okay. And when you employ data governance, your role is going to be focused on policies and rules that will drive the program itself. Put it away. But it's good for you to understand what you are managing. So the management of that, when they say data governance management, so the management of it, not the data governance side, is is how you can appropriate what has been put them in data governance in terms of executions. So very important. Okay. How would you define the scope of data governance in an organization? How would you define it? How will you define?
It's a hard question.
It's a hard question. I think we said it earlier. What does it cover?
Is it to do with the boundaries and the responsibilities that a company would have and objectives of its governance program? I don't.
Are you asking question? You must be from Nigeria because you answer question with question.
Yeah.
There's a journalist just asked one Nigeria question in the airport. He said, "Is it true that the Nigeria answer question with question?" He said,
Yes,
who,
very.
he said, "Who told you?" Here, I've seen the answer. I asked it and you just asked me who told you. Right. So, introduce policy procedures. That's correct. So that's correct from barrister and responsibility to ensure that data is handled properly and accurately. Very, very important. So another answer from there, let's take advantage of that. And actually it covers policies, rules, standards, and processes related to how data is managed and used. So very important. Okay. On that note, have you learned something there today? I'm asking a question.
Repeat that question, sorry.
I say, have you learned something there?
Absolutely. It's a lot, in fact, for me. A lot.
Okay, I'm going to ask question based on policies. I've not taught this cohort policy, but there will be policy that we're going to be talking about. So, what key policies should be part of a data governance framework? Key policies means that there are so many kind of policies, but what key policies should be part of data governance framework?
Data policy on data privacy and security and privacy.
Yeah, that's very, very important. Yeah. Okay. Please always remember key policies, not just one. Tonya, what can you see there?
Okay, I can. The answer you supplied there said data privacy policy, data access policy, data retention policy, and of course, data usage policy.
Those are very, very key. They're very key, just like what Engineer Bob Manuel actually really brought in. They're very important. Okay. Latonia, where are you calling from? Is it Lagos or Port Harcourt?
It's unstable actually, network.
Yeah, where are you calling from? Is it Lagos or Port Harcourt?
Me?
Yes, Latonia.
Me? Lagos. Though I'm from Bayelsa State, but Lagos, we operate from Lagos.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Did you hear what I read earlier on?
Oh yeah, we heard you. We heard you. So, in terms of regulations and compliance, how do data governance policy ensure that?
So it appoints persons to be responsible for data and ensure its compliance, and ensure compliance of personnel using those data. I think putting a policy where you can appoint people to be responsible for particular data that can be taken in or taken out. I don't know if that's correct enough, but
Yeah,
I think that should ensure.
the way you use it is responsible. In ensuring that people are responsible. So I think the right word for that would be enforcement to enforce, because then now at that stage you're managing the data now. You're not just govern. So governance of you talking about the policy you mentioned now, but when you come talk about ensure, so that means first of all you have policy and make sure that the policy is ensured, is appropriated. That's by implementation. In this one, it's enforcement, enforcing standards for data privacy, security, and consent. So now talking about compliance with regulations like GDPR or CCPA in America. So, and GDPR in UK stroke Europe. So this one is enforcement. So you have to enforce. But that's the question. You say policy ensure, okay, or to ensure is to enforce what has been put together in the policy. Remember that the governance aspect of data, it deals with policies, and the management of it deals with enforcement of it. So whenever you see that, to ensure that policy works, you're talking about enforcement. You're talking about the management part of it to see it work.
Okay.
You see that? Right. Okay. Uh, um, okay, let me ask a question. What is the role of data governance in mitigating risk? What is the role of data governance in mitigating risk? What is the role of data governance in mitigating risk?
Data security
Mhm.
and privacy, data privacy.
Yeah, to avoid abuses. Okay, what that means is that
Identifies, yeah, vulnerabilities.
it helps identify vulnerability, prevent data breaches, and also ensure regulatory compliance. That is how your role as a data governance is in order to mitigate against risk. Otherwise, people will be having risk and non-compliance issue, and that can result to breaches and fine. So we always need to know that by involving stakeholders to make sure they identify vulnerabilities, prevent data breaches, and ensure regulatory compliance. Okay. This take note, very important. Okay. How do you handle conflicts between data governance policies and operational needs? Data governance policy and operational needs. How do we do that?
It is operational news.
I say needs.
Let me see the.
So
Okay,
how do you handle conflicts between data governance policies and our operational needs? So the needs can be.
So when you say conflicts.
Yeah.
So when you say conflicts, can you just so I know how to channel the answer?
Conflict is conflict, isn't it? You're talking about data governance policies and operational needs. So we have operational needs A to Z. Okay, the A to Z, anything operation is always A to Z. We have inbound, outbound, input, output. Okay, and in most cases, when you're driving your operations, there are three main resources in the beginning. So main resource, that does not mean it's limited to those 3P, and those three resources are PMM. PMM mean people, money, and materials. Okay, from the beginning, and then we have output could be the valuable product or services that you can run. In between the A to Z input and output, we definitely see transition. So there are so many things that take place within that operation. And during that operation, data governance are expected to be part of, have a program driving the same operations. So on that basis, we expect that there could be conflicts. Depends on the complexity of the data that may be involved in the operation or how big the operation will be. So if the operation wants to have scalability or migrating, so how will you, if there's conflict, what will you do? That's what I'm trying to explain. It's a very big question and very technical questions. And if you are not well abreast with the scope of that question, we might not be able to answer it properly. Barrister, your hand is up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the question you just asked is very important that we identify the source of the data conflict. Like you said, conflict is conflict. And I think this cuts across not just data governance, but when we're talking of conflict generally in an organization, I think it's a very important question. Access, first, like I said, is to identify the source of the conflict. Assess the impact that the conflict had caused. Then choose a strategy, like we always use the word the strategy, to solve the data conflict, and also implement the chosen strategy to resolve the data conflicts. Then it's very important too that we document the data conflict, and to communicate the data conflicts and resolution process and the results.
Well, thank you so
I think
much.
these are very key.
They are very, very key. Thank you so much. And I wish you can put the same thing on the note because people will take it on board as well. So just for the purpose of those who never heard well, you see is that you have to identify the conflicts. And this question is so important that, even if you just put as a communication and collaboration is actually very key. It is indeed. Very, very, very key, no matter how you identify the conflicts. Let me just set an example because I want to behave like you people, if you are a barrister, always coming out with an example. So, and they are very good in that. you start small, or the company is a small when they employ you is small. Okay, the company is small in their operation. They became very big because of their fiscal plan. And then they discovered that they say, you know what, we need to go global, or the globalization taking place, they want to be global. So you as a data governance, you're definitely going to have conflicts now. And what are the conflicts? Probably your policy has not been global, it's not robust enough to accommodate that complexity of data or that they are having. So you need to have robust policies and procedures and organization of your data organogram structure, put them in place to accommodate such global initiative they are having. So, and that must be communicated and to all concerned by, and also have key meetings by collaboration with all functional departments globally as well. So that's how you resolve issue, by involving all stakeholders to balance compliance with the agility of the business itself. Barrister, your hand is up. Is it the legacy one or a new one?
Oh, sorry, it's a legacy one, historic. That was historic.
Yeah, so in most cases, you can just give a very simple answer by involving stakeholders to balance compliance and business agility. That is the move. But they're going to ask you, so how do you do that? That is what we just explained earlier. So when you are asked a question, try to keep it very simple and short. Yeah. So that you don't provide offline answering. But when you keep it simple, you give them more assignment. Let them ask more. But by the time we keep talking and talking, they may not really want to be listening anymore. Just talk little. Oh yeah, by the virtue of the father that the scope of the business is different and moving upward or scaling up. So I think you need to upscale your personnel, also have robust policies that drives the scalability. For example, a company going cloud, and then your policy is not cloud before. So what will happen? So this is how it is. Okay. Do we understand that?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Right. What are the legal implications of weak data governance? I expect everybody to answer this.
Well, you're more than likely get a data leak. Data is not protected.
That's correct. And what will happen legally?
Normally, obviously there's data protection laws, so you'll probably get sued by either a customer or even a governing body.
That's correct. Okay, anybody who can assist? Anybody who can assist in that?
Also, your credibility goes down the toilet as well. So
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so fine, reputational damage, loss of customer trust. They are more than that. Data breaches are more than that. Okay. All right. Okay. So there are gonna be more questions, but not now. I'm gonna finish up something about what we landed in the scope last time, and still on the scope. If you can see what I'm sharing, let me know that you can. Can you see what I'm sharing? Good.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Thank
Data
you.
governance. Okay.
Okay, so that's good.
I'll take it off now.
We talk about quality assurance the last time. Okay. Also mentioned data protection, part of the questions I gave this morning. Also the ownership identification. This is one of the challenges that we have. Very difficult. What is it in it for me? And we talk about software selection. I have questions on software selection, which I haven't really kind of brought out. We also talk about data understanding. If you don't know your data, how will you be able to deal with it? Okay. The last time we talked about usage tracking, you remember Bob Manuel?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we talk about that. Okay. So we never talk about workflow automation. This is very important. This is about creating and automating the workflow of data discovery, okay, archiving, and also deletion. So this includes automation, policies creation, and applications. So the challenge you may have in workflow automation will be manual data process governance processing. If it's actually manual, always, process data manually, resulting in inefficiency and delay in data discovery, archival, and deletion. So we have an example of that here is that lack of automated policies and workflows leads to what? Retention beyond period posing compliance risk. Can somebody also tell me another example of such? Can anyone tell me another example? Can someone tell me another example?
Oh,
Of what? Sorry. Example of what?
Example of workflow automation. I gave an example of a workflow automation is a lack of automated policy. Let me say policy and workflows. Let me underline it, make it bold, leads to data retention beyond necessary.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
I wanted to. Okay, go on. You speak. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think someone wanted to speak just now.
No, just speak them.
Okay. Workflow automation normally is a process whereby repetitive tasks is done within a business or within an organization. So there's a system which is created by that particular organization. Say, for example, previously, if someone joins a company, a welcome email is sent to the new employee by HR. The employee manually fills out various forms and then submits them back to the HR person. Then HR reviews the form, manually inputs the data of the employee, like say, for example, payrolls, benefits, all other things that the employee is likely to get being a part of the company. And then the IT department sets up that person, sets up the laptop, computer, and all that. And then after that, HR will probably say if there's any training required, or they will point you to a direction where you have all those trainings on the system concerning cybersecurity for the company, when a new joiner joins, the induction process and all that. But with an automated workflow, you find that once the person is hired, automatically there's something on the system It could be like a platform, I'll use the Power BI or Excel database, or I think HRO, they've got their own specialist kind of databases where automatically a welcome email is sent to the person automatically. And then on that form that is sent automatically to the person, you've got links to these forms which the employee fills out and submits through the HRO system. And then the data is automatically, that person's data, name, date of birth, gender, ethnic origin, are you bisexual, heterosexual, homosexual, whatever, it's all entered into the system automatically. And then automatically so it gets into the payroll, the benefits. And then based on the role, the IT department automatically sets up the employees' accounts and all that. So everything, which is called the onboarding system, is done automatically. And then once HR gets all this response and ensures that no step is missing, they point you to that direction, that you get that direction of the induction. The induction will say, welcome to the company. These are the do's, these are the don'ts. This is what you can do with your laptop. You need to set up the encryption system on the laptop and all that. So automatically, all that time and effort is saved. So that's an example of an automatic workflow. And with that system, there's no chance of data being duplicated because the system has been set such a way that if, say, for example, 2 AFAs are on the company's system, what it will do is they will look for something to distinguish one AFA from the other AFA. So it could probably be AFA with a 1 on the side of their name, or AFA with an asterisk on the side of the name or something. But automatically that system will differentiate between the 2 AFAs or between 2 John Smiths on the system. So based on that, the data automation goes smoothly. Everything goes smoothly. The onboarding process is smooth compared to before, where papers are passed around, where sometimes even the system does not pick up that a new person has joined or a new person has left. So that's the good thing about workflow automations. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other person? Any other person? All right. Is there any other person? Okay, Barrister.
I just wanted to say that in terms of duplication, what I've noticed is it's very difficult for one to actually see where, for instance, a John Smith with the same date of birth, the same address, and obviously the same postcode. So normally in our own case, or the system we will normally use is the date of birth and also in terms of the gender. So having, let's say, John Smith with an asterisk or one symbol or the other might not come in. Where they have the same name in the same household, like we all know, they have juniors or senior, you know. So I was just wondering if CEO could give us an example of where we'll have to use an asterisk, because I've not actually come across that. In most cases, in terms of the names, when we put in the unique ID numbers, it actually comes up with the person's name. So if you could please clarify. Yes, thank you.
Okay, say for example, now with the company I currently working, I was with that company about 2 or 3 years ago, and then they took me on board again. So automatically, because of lack of data cleansing and all that, my system, everything on that system came up automatically with my name and all. So when people send an email, they send the email to, even though IT has set me up again as a totally new person, but with the same name, same surnames, date of birth and everything, same location, it makes people confused, because when they send an email, I tell them I haven't received your email. They say, oh, but is your name not so? This is your name. This is your surname. I'd say, yes, that's correct. But I haven't received your email. So what I then told, when I spoke to my manager, my line manager, he then said that, oh, I think it's because you were on the system before and it was not taken out. So apparently there are two of you on the system, same person. So when people press the send button, they don't really differentiate who they're sending it to. So I said, okay, can it be differentiated in such a way that when people send me an email, I'll actually get the email. So the person said, oh yes, we'll speak to the IT. And then when they spoke to IT said, okay, what we'll do is instead of, because maybe they're not big on data cleansing or they're not big on archiving and all that, what they did was they put me down and then they put a 1 in front of my surname. So what I do is if anybody is sending an email, I tell them that make sure you send it to the email with a 1 in front of my surname. Because if you send it to the other one without a 1, then it will not come to me. So for everything I'm doing, if anyone is searching for me on the system, then make sure they put that 1 in front of the name, and then automatically will bring me with all my details. I don't know if that clarifies. So
Yes,
it might not necessarily be a hashtag on asterisk, but they put a number 1 on my name.
great, beautiful, good. In fact, I actually had a similar case like that with NHS and also local authority. In my own case, my first name is actually Foma, which is you, but my middle name is Emmanuel. Sometimes when they put you instead of the E, it comes up as 2 different persons. So what they yes. So what they now did, because like I said, my passport is actually you as the first name, and my driver's license has Emmanuel as my first name. So I know a lot of people also have this. So we will now agree that okay, we should stick to one, and the other one was deleted. So that was actually how we were able to resolve that problem. Because at the end of the day, I was not registered as 2 different persons on the system. Yeah, so it's for us to agree on the one that to be used and the one that should be deleted.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It happens everywhere and any time. But the thing
Yeah.
is that if there are policy put in place to get that resolved, then it will be easy. So that there will not be duplication. Or a special identification to ensure that it could be the same person, but there's one that is in vogue right now, like one or you, that kind of a thing. So if there's lack of automated policies and workflows, could lead to a lot of retention. And we have a retention policy. Like I signed off retention policy about October. I look at the entire database. I saw a lot of retention there beyond the necessary times period that is still there. Even though I think legally, barrister, legally is how many years? But I reduce it in this. I just reduce it in the organization, and I printed it and I signed it off so that they could know. But legally, how long does it take, barrister, for anything retention? Because I also remember one time that I was looking for my pension, and for a reason, and they told me, they gave it to me, after some time they wrote me that when they're no longer going to retain this in their system, and that for now I should deal with the company straight. So that was a company pension when I was a planning manager in the company, more or less so. And they were able to send to me that deal with the company directly now, that they won't be able to have that in their database because of the years that I left that company. So that means retention policy is taking place there. So barrister, your hand is up.
Yes, thank you. In terms of retention, like you said, it's the organization's policy and framework is paramount. Or having said that, there are general, in terms of retention, inland revenue is 6 years plus the current accounting year. Then when it comes to companies or some other companies, what they do, they'll say, okay, the official retention time or years or duration is 6 years, but we'll add an additional year. And also there are different documents. When we talk of retention, there are different documents to all that would determine the level of the importance of the document. Also determines the duration. So yes, so the organization will now say, okay, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. But generally, in terms of the GDPR, it does not actually detect how long you should actually keep a document for. So it's the organization that will sit and say, okay, and also in certain trades, they will say, okay, let's like the
medical
governing, yes, good. That was what I was going to say. Good. The governing, like the medical council, they have their own, the legal SRA, they have their own. So each, in fact, it's like the teaching too. They also have the schools. They have how long pastor will guide us on that as the governor of a school, so that's how it is generally. So like it's been established that the UK GDPR does not actually say how long you should keep a document or retain a document for. So it's the organization that actually, but the minimum retention period that law firms will keep the document from is 6 years. That is the minimum for law firms. Yes. So, like I said, I know I've had some organization that keeps up to 14 years. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know. I reduced. I just reduced it because when I look at the database and look at the data available, and I look at the budget and so many things, I just say there's no need to keep this because these people have not been this or that. What I just did, I just reduced. As you said, it depends on the organization anyway. I reduced the age, the period, and also sign it off.
Yes, thank you. In fact, let's remember. I think some of participants here, they're actually calling from abroad. So when we give examples, it's good we actually not just use acronyms. We have the I think when you the barring service where you get a job, you have to apply, or the organization has to apply for you to see if one has any DBS. Good. That's the barring. I was just saying that using the DBS, they might not actually understand. Yes. So what happened was, or as a lawyer, what we do, especially in criminal cases, you all know that when somebody commits a crime, it flags up on the system. So there was this lady, I did this case. She actually shoplifted when she was 15 years. And this lady is now, in fact, when I did that case about 20 years ago, she was about 50. She said, oh, no, there's nothing. No, she said she's clear. She's clean. There's nothing that's going to be on the system. When I told her, I showed her on the system, she was surprised. She was surprised. That's why we should stay out of trouble because you never know when you can imagine something. But what you could do, you could actually make an application to the place for removal of such. That's why now, if you see some information on Google that you're not happy with, you can actually make an application to Google stating the reasons why it should be removed, and Google will actually remove it if they think it's justified. Because at the end of the day, one thing they don't want to do, they don't want to mislead the public. And also some information that might help the public, they might not want to remove such information, especially if they know that removing it might not be in the interest of the public.
And
so you really have to justify the reasons.
And their own interest too.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for eye-opening, contribution. Okay, so why this is very important is that we must always believe that policies or workflows must adhere to certain period, and the examples of some workflow is about data access requests. Data access requests, you must automate it. Workflow for employees, for third parties to request access to data set. That workflow must just be there, okay? Otherwise, there's going to be problem. Okay, which includes approval processes. Is that a legacy hand? Or
No, I just wanted to add that it's very important that on the website of organization, they should state it that retention of information or documents will be XYZ according to the governing body's recommendation.
Or according to the policy of the company.
According to the policy of the company.
It's very important. And no matter how they have a policy, it should not be, the policy should not override. What I mean in terms of, that means if
the governing bodies.
The governing body, or else the jurisdiction where they operate, the legal framework that is operating with respect to
could be null and void. Yes.
Yeah, so very important. So as we're saying, workflow for employees or third parties to your business to request access to data set, which something like you can have practically approval processes with compliance checks and access provisioning. So when it comes to another example of what you can do in a workflow process, if you carry an initiative like data quality management, you also need automated validation checks for data completeness. Whether this one is data quality initiative, so accuracy and consistencies. So what does that really mean? You can put like automation, like notification or escalation workflows for data anomalies and or errors. When there is error or anomaly, just alert come up. What about when you're dealing with metadata? Metadata management that you have automatically capturing, okay, and targeting and also updating, metadata for new or updated data set in your workflow, okay? So how will you be able to do that? By synchronizing metadata repositories with data catalogs so that automatically you can manage your metadata. So you can have workflow automation with respect to maybe data lineage, tracking, so automatic tracking and visualization of data movement, and also transformation across systems. So how will you be able to do that? You have in your workflow, you can have alerts when discrepancies or unauthorized or changes occur. The alert will just give you something is wrong somewhere else. You can also have a workflow of data classification. So what you do is you have automated classification of data bases based on sensitivity, how sensitive is data like P11, financial health data as well. How do you do that? By applying appropriate policies, e.g. like encryption or masking based on classification. Sebastian, your hand is up. Is it legacy hand or what?
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is actually one of the, it's just an interactive, something I guess that we might all benefit from. Where a customer or a patient says that, or service user says, oh, I don't want you to retain my document I want my information or everything to be taken out from your system. I don't want it to be on your system. As a data governance manager, what would be the response or replies to such a person? Just a question for everyone to just to interact on this. What would be could everyone just give probably what you think you will reply to as a data governance manager?
If somebody doesn't come up, I'll call the person. I'll call person's name.
Can you repeat that question? Is that cool?
Pastor, go on, if you could repeat it.
If one says that I don't want you to keep my data anymore.
For the prescribed period of time.
The prescribed period. And so what would you say? Probably the prescribed period has also been approved by the person who is also requesting before. So they have turned back to tell you, say, no, I don't need that anymore. But you signed the document, then what would you say? That's the most important.
Well, it depends on the situation. Obviously, you can't tell the police, I don't want you to keep my data anymore, because they would not even answer you in the first place. But if it's just an organization, you have to give a valid reason. Say, for example, he was talking about Google, taking your details off Google. I think Barrister was talking about it a few minutes ago, or even a place like Facebook, because they have to comply with what you have requested for. If not, they are liable to be sued, even if it's going against their policies. You can say, yes, I do not want you to keep my details anymore based on for so and so reasons. They're not complying with it, could instigate legal actions against them. So, and to avoid that happening, it's easier to just delete everything about that person from the system than risk the person taking you to court and spending money on lawyers and all that, and just long-winded the process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chef. All right, any other person? Any other person?
This could be an interview question, so it's very important that we all.
It could be. It is because it's very sensitive.
Yeah, it is very sensitive.
It's not there. It's not there. It's not there. It's not there. But depends on you bring the case in.
Exactly. That's actually why I thought this could benefit everyone. Yes.
Yeah. So if I may ask, why the police cannot change it?
So the police have your details because you are on the system for, say, for example, theft, violence, or some other crime, abuse, and all that. You can't just walk into the police station and say, you know what, take my name off the system. But of course, if you have been cleared of any of those charges, or they have found that they've done their investigation and they found that none of that can be attributed to you, then yes, you can demand to have your details taken off the system.
Why is it that you cannot?
So why can't you? So this is what I'm saying. It depends. So there's a condition. Okay, let me say there's a condition attached to telling the police take your name off the system, because I have seen before where a guy was charged for the person went into Argos and he bought things using cash. Cash, of course, they suspected money laundering. So Argos called the police and said, blah, blah, blah. But that person genuinely brought in this money with all the evidence from Nigeria and said he wanted to use it buy in Argos. But of course, because normally a lot of us use cards and the rest, Argos were a bit suspicious that where did he suddenly get this kind of cash from? And they contacted the police, and the police immediately arrested the person, did their investigation, and then they found that the money was genuinely brought into the country. It was declared by customs, and the person was going to use it for business. It's just that it had that amount of cash. So the person then demanded that, okay, I need my name to be taken off the system. Because first of all, you have labeled me a criminal. So of course, it will affect my chances in the future. So of course, the police had nothing to do, but they had no other option but to take their name off the system. But if it were the other case, and he was arrested for that. And then the charges were dropped against him by Argos or the police. They won't just take his name off willy-nilly. Already he's been labeled a criminal. So they will have to leave that name on the system for a certain period of time. So you cannot demand for them to take that name off the system. So this is why I said that it's got conditions attached to it.
Okay.
But if it's somewhere like, sorry.
Can I?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you finished?
So, but if it's somewhere like the other day, some months back, the NHS called me, and they said somebody was ill, and my name was done as the next of kin or something, and I said I might have had something to do with that person years ago, but I don't have anything to do with that person at the moment. So I demand you take my name off that person as next of kin. And then people were like, yeah, but you have, I said, please take my name off that person's name. I am not their next of kin. I have no relationship whatsoever with that person. So if the person is down in the hospital as being sick, then you need to speak to the person to find out who the next of kin or who the best contact is for that person. So if my name is not taken off the system, you'll be liable for prosecution. That was what I told the NHS. And since then, they said, okay, we understand where you're coming from. Since then, I've not had any calls from them again.
Okay.
So that is my name taken
Can I
off.
ask a question?
Yep.
Can I ask a question? Okay, I want to first relate to what she just explained. So, I mean, if your actions or whatever makes history, can you take that out of the record again? So why would I say it make history? Because you created data, you use cash to do purchase, and maybe the system is automated to raise a flag where someone purchases with a large amount of cash instead of using the card system, which they feel is a control system for money laundering. So if for any reason they decide to call the police, maybe that was the way the system was automated to operate. Or if they don't call the police, maybe it's also automated to alert the police by itself. Like you have in the banking system in Nigeria, if you go in and do a transaction to a particular amount, EFCC will be alerted, whether you like it or not. So the thing is, who is the person involved? Is this person, is his account used to making this kind of transactions? Then you might not have issue. But if your account have not received that kind of money before, immediately comes in to be frozen, the authorities will be alerted, right? Hello, can you guys hear me? I just want to be sure.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, well. So my question is, like you were asking, if the person requests that you take the data, information off, can you do that when history has been created? Because history has been created, he did this. Again, like if he's not, like in this case that you use as an example, he is not a criminal because the police cannot call you a criminal during investigation. You need to be taken to court, and the court has to validate that beyond reasonable doubt that you're a criminal before you're made a criminal. So that does not come in. I don't think that will play in. Barrister is the barrister, correct me. I know you have the burden. You have the burden to prove the person is a criminal before the person is called a criminal. So I know that cannot fly.
So, are you through? Are you through? When
no,
you are through, let us know.
I'm not through.
Okay.
Okay,
good.
then the other one, you were asking when it can be taken out. Like I said, if you make history for any way, whatever it is, it's history. It has to be there. So if history is made, somebody's name has to be mentioned. If somebody's name has to be mentioned, the person has statistics. That has to be on record. I mean, can you just take it out because you want it to be taken out? But if you have made history in any way, whatever it is, it has to be documented. Once it's documented, it becomes data. So I don't know how that applies, but I think if you make history, and if for any reason that history has to do with that organization, it will be on the record and it will be data, and it cannot be taken away. So I don't know if that flies. So you go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I have to say a very big thank you to our barrister CEO. She explained very well. I will give very good examples. One, I want to start by saying that there are no two cases that are the same. That's what we always say. So it's not, the starting point shouldn't be that, anyone that does this, we get that, we get that. The examples I'm going to give, one, in 2003, I did a transaction for a client. This was about 21 years ago. And we were waiting for the money to be sent to the office account. Unknown to me or the firm, this guy, because I had a Barclays, I also have a Barclays account. So he transferred the monies to my account. There are times I just do some jobs. He will say, oh, I just want to appreciate you. So he now transferred that £250,000 to my account. We were looking, he said he sent the money to the office account. We were looking for so at the end of the day, we now found, in fact, and I said, oh, could it be that this guy actually sent the money to my account? Lo and behold, the money was sitting in my account. The lesson here is that for some accounts, it will just be closed automatically, or it will just flag up. But because my account is run in a way that, so my account wasn't closed, or it wasn't flagged up. So that is the lesson from there.
Because we have big money passing through all the time.
Yes, exactly for that. Yes.
These figures.
Yes. So another example, I was going to the States and I was stopped at the airport. They said that I didn't have the license to drive that car. I said, what are you talking about? The guy said he's been a policeman. Two of them said they've been policemen for 15 years or thereabout. I said I've been a solicitor for more than 20, in fact, about 30 years. That I defend people for matters like this. Oh, he said, no, because what happened, my car was stolen at that, so I now became a second driver. And when I took the insurance, they said, oh, there's no way. They said that the lady I spoke with, I said, I drive different cars, so you cannot just tie me down to, he said, oh, the police said, he's never seen where a second driver can drive other cars. And at the end of the day, they had to report it anyway, to cut a long story short, answering your question, do you know that they've not concluded the matter, but that actually affected my insurance. So when I now came back from the US, I now went straight to the police. I now told them, this is it. I now called the insurance company. I said, I want the tape recording of the transaction between us. So they now sent, first of all, they were saying that they've listened to it, that the lady told me the right. In fact, the lady, when I spoke with, we even chatted for more than an hour because she said she studied law, but she's not decided if she's going to be a barrister or a solicitor. So I was now advising her on the way to go about it in terms of her career. So the long and short of it is that those people now found out that it was the lady on the other end that made the mistake. They advised me wrongly. My insurance that was increased pending when the matter will be the determination of the matter, they now reduced it. So the difference between in fact, then the difference was about £1,000 in addition to what I was paying before. So they now reduced it to just £50. £50. So they now changed the manager, because I went to the office, they now changed it to my name. Then also I was compensated for all the troubles. Even when I actually said yes, that I didn't need any money to do it. They said, oh, no, that this is coming to the close of the. So I now quickly send them an email to say, okay, they should compensate me X amount of money. With X amount of money. So the long and short of it is that there is no, then also to add to what CEO said, I've made lots of applications for people who were wrongly, the matter that they went through, at the end of the day, it was something, I wouldn't use the word that they were framed, but at the end of the day, they found out that this person didn't actually do that, or these people are actually innocent of the offense or crime. And at the end of the day, they had to expunge those information from their record, because it was actually, if I get matters like that on the daily, there's this guy that wrote to me yesterday. He said he can't get a job because he had a suspended sentence some time ago for, he said he had an altercation with the wife, the partner also, and that went to his record. And because of that, he can't get any job at all, So, and I told him, well, I'm going to see, I need all the facts I need everything, all the information to see if I could use that to apply to the police for him. Or sometimes you also have to go to, there are times you have to go to court. If the police says, well, there's nothing they can do about it, then you can go to court to see what you can do in terms of redress. Because at the end of the day, this affects the person's livelihood. If, for instance, I've done lots of cases where people already have 12 points on their license and they can't, normally as soon as you get 12 points, you can't drive. But I can make representation to say, okay, this is really affecting the person's livelihood. And at the end of the day, they will say, okay, you can drive, but you just have to be careful. And because, you know, the driving ban, I think each of them takes about 4 years or so for it to be removed or expunged, you know, but you can still drive. So I always tell people that there are no two cases that are the same one. Then also the law is not cast in stone. You can always go to court or you can always go to the police officer or immigration officer. In fact, the example that CEO also gave, there are some people that in terms of immigration, you stand as surety for someone to say that the person will be going to sign on, blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the day, some of these people, you know, you don't see them, they're just going to thin air. You know, so in cases like that, you can go to the immigration court to say that you didn't know anything about these guys as absconding, and they will remove your name if they are satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love everyone, both those who asked questions and those contributed. This is really, really cool. I was expecting that we should close by now, not knowing that we have more that are coming. I said earlier, it's neither there nor here. Depends on how you can prove your case. I was only asking some few questions in order to see how people can peel the onion so that we know enter one's eyes. Okay, one of the issue of police is that you don't give consent to for them to collect your data. Okay, Barsa, your hand is up.
Yeah, it's a very good point that you just raised. When one goes for an interview like this, they want to see your reasoning.
That's correct.
Your analytical, how, you know, like you said, it's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
When you give examples like, in fact, when you give examples, they'll say, oh, this is the material, this is the kind of person I want for this job. You know, so there's no two way about it that you are going to be the chosen one.
Absolutely.
Chosen.
So this is how it is. That's why it's good that we, in this place, we're not just training. We bring examples, we bring practicals, we bring things. When you are there working, it's like you'll be working for 5 years. That is the joy we have here. Okay, you talking like a professional, not just talking to who somebody has just finished training like that. This is really proper training. So you use the right word, at the right time. So we'll be closing in a few minutes. Still on the workflow automation, you need to have a workflow automation with respect to policy enforcement. Very, very important. Automating the application of governance policies like data retention. This is coming up as the management aspect of data governance now. It's not just data governance. The management of it is very important. So you need to automate policy, automating the application of all the governance policies like data retention, deletion, or archival as well. How will you do that? There's always a monitoring and enforcing data usage of policy in real time as it comes. There will be the application of it. You also need to have the workflow automation of compliance reporting, whether you comply with the laws and regulations of or as stated anyway. So on that basis, you generate audit reports automatically for regulatory compliance, e.g. GDPR, as I said the other time. Or in America, you have HIPAA as well, or CCPA, so in California as well. So how would you do that? There's always alerts for non-compliance. So if you don't do that, you'll be like Facebook that was fine trying to transfer data from Europe to America. $2.8 billion. Was it this year? And it paid it on. So there must be alert for non-compliance, highly automated or risk exposure in data usage. There are also workflow automation you can put in place in terms of data retention and disposal and the management of the same. We also have to talk about another one like incident management and how you respond to that. Incident management, please, this is a very big question in terms of workflow automation and management of data. When you have incident like breach, okay? So the first thing you do, you report it. You just report it because once stakeholder knows that their data have been breached from you, and you say, however, the company, the management is dealing with the issue, that is the best thing to do. But if you say, oh, let me start to deal with the issue, whether I can overcome it before I announce data breach, you have a really big problem. They can sue you. So there must be workflow automation in terms of incident management. How do you manage incident when it takes place? First of all, you have to have the automated workflow for responding to data, breaches or policy violations when it comes to that to avoid risk and non-compliance issue. And how will you do that? You need to look at the root cause analysis and resolution, workflows triggered by incident detection. So you also need to look at the role-based access control, ROBAC. Role-based, that is automation you can put together to look at the assignment and review and revocation of access rules based or user roles and responsibility. Those automations are very important. Another key word you must understand is when you have a workflow automation with respect to data stewards notification, because they are in charge managing the affair and enforcing the policies and procedures of the program. So there must be notification to data stewards when issues require manual intervention, and also automating periodic data quality reviews and approval so that you know what they can do and do at a time. So there are so much areas you can put together, but the most important thing you also need to know is the workflow automation tools. So the tools that you can use in automating data governance programs like Aliton, Calibra, Informatica, Talents, like data. We also have Data Robot for metadata quality and catalog automation. There are a lot of tools you can use in doing that. And we can also use ServiceNow, Workato, and a lot of data, including Zapier. So with time, you will get to know these things. So that's for kind of workflow to avoid any issue. And while doing that workflow, you try to implement automation tools to streamline such a governance process. Okay, have we learned something today?
Yes, I have a question before you go. If you're talking about reporting back when you have
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you have the CEO and every other person. If you were to report, who do you report first to the CEO before others, or you can just report send a mail where it goes to everybody? And if that's the case, what if the CEO is probably on vacation, is not around? Do you need a permission from him before it is sent out to every other person?
Yeah, if CEO is not around, somebody must always be responsible as a CEO at that time.
Okay, so it has to go to that person before it's sent to every other person.
It doesn't take more than 1 minute to get that done. You send it to them, and you already know your role as a data governance manager. So it's something that must not stay longer, but CEO must be aware. So CEO will not tell you, say, don't do it, because it's already a policy that is your role to report it immediately to all stakeholders, including himself. So if you say, oh, if it's not around there, you can't send it out, then you breach your own policy that you put together, because they're also part of the people approving the policy, because during the policy enactment, do I say enactment? Better, I think legally it would be enactment. Otherwise, it will be decree. So it is enactment that, okay, they now be part of the policy maker and endorsing it that once a breach like that has occurred, then I have the responsibility and also accountable to report it immediately to all stakeholders, not excluding the chief executive, and not even when I'm going to do it when in the absence of, no, your all stakeholder immediately, while the management is still dealing with the root cause and in order to and also have a mitigation against it. So if you say, why didn't you report it to me before you report it to the whole world? That again has gone against the policy, because a good best practice by standard is to report it to all stakeholders. Stakeholders, not only internal, also external. So the chief executive will know by standard, look at it, okay, this is our policy, you did well. Okay. So that must be, thank you for asking that, that must be enshrined in policy when you are a data governance manager. Say, have a look at this, what are the policy based on this and that. Or if the policy is not robust enough to accommodate the answer to that question, please put it in. And it has to be signed off by the chief executive as well, so that he knows that he's also responsible for that and accountable for it. Do you understand that? Otherwise, when things like that are put a big cocoon and put somewhere, and then when they now realize later that the thing was not reported within the time frame expected, then the chief executive may resign. He say, "Oh, under my watch, this is what happened, and it was not reported." And before the person who is the data governance manager never did that will be sacked, the chief executive will go. So you have to do what you need to do. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, have we learned something today, everyone?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm asking the question so that I need an answer. Oladimeji, all right. Latonia. Okay. Everyone. So, any other question, please?
Okay. The challenge I have is they're trying to get all these things from my head. Me, I'm a greenhorn. I'm just trying to absorb everything. So I was looking at there might be maybe some copies or something. I want, and after lectures, you go back and look, and I don't know.
Yeah, some people have a I think I can do that. I speak.
I lost you. I didn't get that.
I said there are always materials available for every. There are materials.
Okay, after now.
There are materials available for every lectures. Some people are receiving that as well.
Of course, I understand now. It's okay.
Yeah. So, I'll speak to me later on that.
Okay,
so
very well.
Do we have any other question, anyone?